Good morning, everybody. It's Rashida. She's from Rashida's on the Loose, and I'm here today because we're going to talk about goals. We're going to set goals. So for everyone who's already here, I see you in the comments. Let's go ahead. If you don't have it already, grab a piece of paper and a pen or a journal or some kind of tablet. Bring something to write with because we are writing down our goals today, our goals for 2022. And secret fact about me, I love goal setting. So I'm really excited about this one. I'm always goal setting, which also kind of means I'm changing my goals a lot, but we're going to look at goal setting overall today. So I'm hoping you guys can all hear me and you will tell me if you can't like last week, but I think we're good this week. Okay, so if you don't know me, like I said, I'm Sheeta from Sheeta's on the Loose. I talk about career breaks, sabbaticals, early retirement, and all of those things kind of deal with money. So I talk about money here as well. And today I'm talking about goal setting, but not like people usually talk about goal setting. Most times, like if you search for goal setting online or like how to set goals, most of it is about like setting goals at work or like how to achieve more on the job, because we are supposed to be robots for capitalism. All we do is work. My robot is very bad. Y'all see this? It's a very bad robot. But yeah, we're supposed to be these robots who don't do anything but work, and all we should care about is work. And so when you see all these articles, it's like, how do you set goals outside of work? And that's what we're talking about today. So I specifically said that this video is for Black women because, you know, I love Black women, but also because I want us to think about who we are outside of work and who we want to be outside of work. So this video is all about like, how can you create goals that give you more ease, that give you more joy, that bring more like abundance into your life, and goals that aren't like how to get the next promotion, how to finish this task at work, right? Like it's not about achieving things, it's about like goals that help you be who you want to be. So before we get started, I want you guys to tell me if you usually set annual goals. So that's a yes or no. Do you set annual goals? Drop it in the comments. If you're watching the replay, put it in the comments too. Let me know if you set goals because I want to know. I want to see who does this annually. And who was that? RW, you love the hair. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I finally found a braider in Mexico. I'm very excited about that. Okay. So yeah, drop it in the comments. Do you set goals? Do you not set goals? Tell us. It is important for what we're doing today. I'm seeing a lot of yeses in the comments. Oh, Yolanda sets quarterly goals. Waffle Cat sets goals, but not in January. Chandra, was Chandra, right? Yes, Chandra sets goals. Halisi's had a goal. Halisi, I hope I'm not mispronouncing your name, had a goal of becoming conversational in Spanish in 1 year, but didn't make it, but I did in 18 months. You know, maybe that's a good goal for me to set. Because my Spanish is not excellent. Yes, Piggy, we're talking about goal setting. Yeah. So who does that? I don't think Adelia. Oh, I don't know. Adelia might set goals. We were having this conversation the other day. Yes. Minimal Miss says she sets annual goals, but she tries not to set too many, which we're going to talk about in a minute. And Stephanie sets quarterly goals. Hey, Stephanie. Okay. A lot of you are setting goals. But I want to know, if you do set goals, do you usually achieve them? So write that down in the comments too. Do you achieve the goals? So just yes, I think we need like yes, I achieved them, since the other one was yes, no too. So yes, I achieve them. No, I don't. So yeah, let me know. Do you achieve your goals? Do you not? This is going to come in. So I think Yolanda's saying yes, she achieves her goals. Darawan sets goals in January, and she also sets a theme for the year. I tried a theme for the year once, but it just didn't work for me. I don't know. Stephanie is achieving 75% of her goals. Minimal Miss is achieving her goals. Danny Nicole. Nope, that's not how Danny Cole. Okay. Says, I achieve them for career or financial goals. If it's a self-care goal, I always falter on. Well, you're in the right spots. We are doing self-care goals today. We are taking care of ourselves. We are reminding ourselves that we are very important outside of our career and money. And so we are going to work on goals for that. Angela says, life be life in. So she doesn't, she sets goals, but doesn't always achieve them. Someone asked me last week about, I was talking to Rosanna from Waffle Cat, and she asked me something about like, if I plan ahead about a very specific thing. And I was like, yes, but then life happens and like, you got to move around life. So I totally understand that, but I want to talk about the goals that we can set today. So like I said earlier, a lot of what's online is about setting goals to make you more productive, but like, productive for who? It's usually not productive for like your own life. The goal, when you see goal setting, it's usually about being more productive for the man. And we don't care about the man over here. Not at all. He's not our friend. We don't care about him. We are being productive for ourselves. That's what we're going to talk about today. So I hope you have your pen, hope you have paper. If you have a calendar as well, that could come in handy. Let's get started. I want to say that last year, this is not this is not how I'm going to recommend you set goals, but like it's a way that it's something that worked for me. And we'll talk about why this worked. Last year, I saw people taking mid-December to like first week of January off. And I was working. I had meetings, I had stuff. I was clickety-clacking away on the computer, boop, 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 one-on-ones with people, all this stuff. And I was like, I don't want to be working on people in the streets doing hood rat shit. Like I want to be out there too. I want to be out there having fun. Why am I working? Why didn't I take this time off? And so I wrote on my calendar from last December, maybe in January of this year, I blocked off December on my calendar. Like I was not working, nothing was happening. I wanted to do that. And now I'm taking December off. Like this is probably the last video you'll see from me in December because I'm going to Buenos Aires tomorrow. Oh, and I got my negative PCR test back, but because the US is being a funky little stepchild right now, after this video, I have to go take a PCR test. I'm going to the same place to take 2 tests in a row, 2 tests, 2 days in a row. So anyway, I'm not working in December. It was totally my goal, and I made that happen. And one of the reasons I made it happen leads to my first point about making goals is you have to decide what's important in your life. And it's important for me to have space on my calendar, to feel free to do what I want. I want to be the kind of person that works when I want to. Like that is how I thought my life was going to be. But when I didn't intentionally create that space, I worked when other people wanted me to. So I decided that a priority in my life for this year, and it's going to be for next year too, is creating boundaries in my calendar of when I work and when I don't work, so that if I want to take a month off in December, I can do that. If I want to go to Turkey for a month in April, I hope I see y'all there. I can do that. And it's not a big deal because I've already created that space. So pinpoint, first step in setting goals is pinpoint what's important in your life. Like what are the things that you want to do? And another way to think about that is who you want to be. I wanted to be a person that has space in my life to do whatever I want when I want it. Now that's kind of hard to do, like when you have clients, like whenever you want, maybe not. But can you plan ahead and say, like now I'm taking these 2 weeks off from work, or I'm not working on my business for these 3 weeks, and I'm going to spend time with my family, with my friends. I'm going to do something I really care about. Is that something that's possible for you in the time and space you have? And so what I did, like I said, I just blocked off my calendar and that was it. Like no questions asked. It's funny. I was talking to someone who they asked to collaborate. And then I realized they were offering me a job, but they weren't actually, Adelia pointed out, they weren't actually offering me a job. They were offering me the opportunity to apply for a job. And I was like, No. And one of the reasons I got to know with the conversation with him is that they wanted consistent content from me like weekly. And I was like, but I take, like, I have a month scheduled off in December, and I'm not gonna, it's really like 6 weeks with a couple days working, like this day in between. So like I have the 6 weeks off and I'm not working. And he was like, oh my God, that's so amazing. How do you do that? And I'm like, well, I say no to things like this. Like truly, I made it a priority. And so I set these with this boundary. I'm like, if you don't want me to work on my schedule, I can't work with you if you want me to work on your schedule, because I'm not asking anybody for time off again, right? Like I'm over that. And so for me, like I've had to make it that priority that I work on my schedule. So even if I'm offered like something that sounds good, it sounded good, but I was like, no, it's a priority for me to be a person who is in control of their schedule and does what they want generally when they want. And so I was like, no, sir. He was like, how did you set this up? And I was like, you hear me rejecting your offer because it's encroaching on my time. That's exactly how I set it up, by turning down offers that encroached on my time. So in the past few weeks, and people have been talking to me about like, I'm coming on podcasts or whatever. I'm like, we'll talk about this. Can we talk about this in January? Like, I don't even want to do the work to schedule something like in December or late November. I was like, we got to talk in January because I'm not thinking about work in December. So that was a benefit to me. Like, I know that is important to me. I want to be the type of person that has space on her calendar. So it's your turn. Like, when you think about your life, maybe you don't know what you want to do, but like, what kind of person do you want to be? Do you want to be a person who has no debt? Do you want to be a person who takes regular vacations? Do you want to be a person who takes care of themselves regularly in the meaningful ways that are important to them? Like, what kind of person are you? How do you want to, who do you want to be? And Rosanna added, and what do you want to feel? Like, what do you want to feel? So one of the things that I prioritized this year was my self-care. And so I don't let my pedicurist leave until we've scheduled another appointment. I'm not holding her hostage, but like, we do this every session, right? We do a thing and then I get back on her calendar for the next time. Because if I don't, I know myself. If I fall off a calendar and I don't have her scheduled, it's going to be months of my toes looking chewed up. Like, it's not going to be good because I'm not going to like think about rescheduling once I don't do it. Rebloom Room, Kat says, I'm not taking any more projects, courses, challenges this month. And I'm thinking I want to take off all of August 22 off for real. No work. Yes, put it on your calendar. We're going to get to that in a second. So think about who you want to be. If you want to write it down on your piece of paper, how you want to feel, whatever things that you see other people doing that you would like to emulate. Because taking December off was not my bright idea. Taking December off was me sitting there like, why she doesn't have to work and I have to work? Like, what? That's not fair. Now, of course it's fair, right? Like, they set it up like that. I didn't. But like, what are the things you see people doing that you want to do in your own way? So we're not copying people, but we're doing things in our own way. Okay, so once can you hear me? Can you hear me? My computer's being weird. All right. Halisi says, sorry, y'all. Okay. If you read my lips, you know exactly what I said. I don't know why it's doing this, y'all. I'm literally not touching anything and it keeps muting me. Okay, good. Audio. I think you can hear me now. It's literally just going in and out, and I don't know why. It just tells me I'm muted every once in a while, and I'm like, well, I didn't mute myself, so what are you doing? Okay, so I'm gonna keep my eye on the mute button and hopefully it doesn't pop up again. All right, so thank y'all for bearing with me. I don't even know where we were. The video's over. No, I'm kidding. I'm just dramatic. Okay, so we pinpointed what's most important in our life. We know who we want to be, how we want to act, how we want to show up in the world. We want all of that. And so now it's time to write down a goal. But we're going to be really intentional when we write down our goals. Pen and paper, pen and paper, pen and paper. Figure out what it is that will get you the goal, right? So I wanted to be a person who has space in their calendar to take months off at a time. So I'm getting distracted. I realized what I missed, what you didn't hear before. So I didn't write down a goal. So this is kind of not what we're doing. We're doing something a little bit more specific today. I just crossed off a thing in my calendar. I crossed off the days, I blocked them, and that's how I made it happen. It was a goal that I had to protect that time throughout the year, but I did write down the goal of like taking December off, but I also did the action of crossing off that time in my calendar to support that goal. Okay. So I'm gonna go back real quick to see. Halisi reminded us that you guys didn't hear anything I said after her name. Halisi, hey girl, said, I want to be a person who's no longer trading their time for money. I downloaded the Mint app yesterday. Amazing. I don't spend as much as I thought. Time to resign real soon. Y'all know I love it when you track your finances, because when you track your finances, you find out things you might not know. She did not realize how little she was spending. And now look, the great resignation may be upon her. Exciting. Nat J-Man said he made a list. He or she, I don't know, that might be a woman. I made a list last night of things I really want. And one of the things is to take a full month off and leave the US for vacation next year. That is a great goal. I love it. Okay. Back to the comments, because child. Woo. Okay. So we're going to write down our goals. And writing down our goals is really important. I love writing down my goals. Years ago, I read a book called Write It Down, Make It Happen by Henrietta Clauser. And I always recommend this book because it really showed me like the difference that happens when you write down your goals. Someone just told me the audio's out again, but I think they might be behind because over here it says that the audio's good. Yeah, okay, so I bought a new computer earlier this year so that I could live stream and it wouldn't be janky. And look what's happening. Look what's happening. Look what's happening. I dropped the link to Write It Down, Make It Happen in the description. So I'm going to drop a comment. Nope, that's not what I'm doing. Dropping it in the comments right now. I love that book. Henrietta knew what she was talking about. So I have, some of you, this is going to look familiar to you. I use a full focus planner every year. I've been using it since, I want to say 2019. It's one a quarter. If you got the gift from Exodus Summit this year, you got one of these. I got more than one because I use them all the time. So I love them because it really helps me break my goals and my annual goals into quarters. And I can kind of track them and look back at them monthly and weekly. All right. So that's what I use to accomplish, to like write down my goals and track them. But whatever you want to use, make sure you have a process for it. So make sure you have a journal that you're constantly writing in, or you're putting things on your calendar, whatever it is you're doing, make sure you have a system. Okay. Annabelle says she has to do the things in the moment. I can't write them down for later. I am way too scattered. I'm way too scattered to do things in the moment. If I do things in the moment, like my entire day is done because I gotta write things. I gotta write things down. There are lists, whatever. Francis, you never got yours? I know Stephanie resent it. Yikes. Can you email us again? I know. We've been back and forth about that. But if you email us again, we'll take care of it. I just can't do it right now. And like I said, if I don't have it on paper, it never gets done. Kat, I see your question about making a video about it. I don't know. Maybe I will, about how I use it. All right. So we're going to talk about creating your goals right now. So one of my goals is to spend as little money as possible in January. And so I'm doing a no spending challenge in January. And so let's work through SMART goals to figure out how to work that out. And so if you're not familiar with SMART goals, it's an acronym that helps you set goals. So S is for specific, M is for measurable, C is for achievable, R, you hear different versions of R. It could be relevant or reasonable, realistic, but we'll get to R. T is time bound. And so with my goal of not spending poquito money in January, I am doing a no spend challenge in January. If you don't know about it, I'm going to drop a link for that. I talked to you guys about it last week, but you may not have seen the link. So I'm dropping the link here. Boom, boom, boom. For the no spend challenge, it's free. We're just hanging out, not spending money together. That was part of my plan, which we'll get to later, about how to make the goal happen for me, was to have a whole squad. Carla says black screen. Tell me y'all can still see me. Please. I don't know what's happening here today. Okay. So for my goal to be specific for not spending money, I created a no spend challenge, which means that my specific goal is to only spend money on necessities, and like true necessities like rent and utility bills and gelato. I'm kidding. No gelato in January for me. Okay, so that's my specific thing. I am not going to spend money on discretionary items. I'm not going to spend money eating out. That was how it was specific for me. Measurable. I could write a number of what I expect my expenses to be, but I am paying attention. So I could say I'm not spending more than $2,000 in January, and I might do that in another month. But for this month, I really want to be specific and say, like, if I don't absolutely need it this month to like survive, I'm not getting it. And so it is measurable because I do track my spending on Mint, and I know when I can check there to make sure I haven't overspent on anything or bought something. And it's also, when you're buying things you're not supposed to be buying. And so it's just a reminder. So that's how it's measurable for me. I'll be in Mint, I'll be tracking, I'll be figuring out what I'm spending. If I wanted to spend under a certain amount, like I want to spend, if one of you wants to spend no more than $2,000 a month, then you would want to be tracking your spending, measurable, and like having maybe a notebook and writing down everything you spend money on and figuring out how close, like if you have 4 weeks, like are subtracting like rent or mortgage or whatever you're paying, or like in car note, most things you have to pay, like, are you spending equally throughout the weeks? Do you need to cut back some? How are you like tracking to meet your goal? Okay. Achievable. Is it achievable? And yes, for me, a no spend challenge is achievable. Y'all in the comments talking about gelato, and like, it's distracting me. Okay. Love y'all. I know you mean well, and I am taking it well, but I can't focus because now I'm thinking about gelato. Oh, I heard about a new spot. It's supposed to be really, really good, but I don't have time to go before I leave tomorrow, and I won't be back in town until January, so I won't be trying that new spot until February. Okay. All right. Asia wants to see if she can only spend $300 a month. So is that every month of the year, Asia, or is that only in January? Let us know. All right. Winnie is doing dry January and she wants to lose 10 pounds. Okay. All right. I didn't drink for like over a year once. It was nice. It was hard though. It was nice. I love a good happy hour. Yeah. Okay. Asia's doing trying to limit herself to $300 in January. Asia, what city are you living in now? Because that's going to tell us a lot. But the open office says no eyelash extensions in January. My eyes are about to be bald headed. You better go get some good mascara in December. Better get ready. All right. And one of the other parts of the last part, we're at relevant. We didn't do ours. So relevant, realistic, reasonable. Can you actually achieve the goal? Like if my goal for the year, right, was to have 100,000 YouTube subscribers. I'm at 27 now. Maybe that might be reasonable. It might be realistic. It might be relevant. It is relevant. Maybe. Okay. If my goal for January was to have 100,000 subscribers, and at the end of December, and in the beginning of December, I have 20 something, I don't know how many, 20 something subscribers, that might not be realistic, especially when I'm not doing any more videos for the end of the year. Like that, are you willing to put in the work to get the goal? Or is your goal like so out there that it is unachievable? I think everything's achievable. So this is a hard one for me. I think as humans, we can do everything, right? Like if you want it, it's yours, but it may take longer. And that's why 100,000 sounds good for 2022. For January, like I would have to go viral probably a couple times. And that's not going to happen with no more videos this year. Abba says she's slightly triggered by SMART goals. We have to do these for work. Yes. There are parts of them I find really helpful, and there are parts where I'm like, okay, sure. So if SMART isn't for you, just make sure it's something you can get to. All right. So now I want to know if you have goals, what they are. So, like I said last year, one of my goals was to get regular pedicures because these feet, they weren't. I needed somebody working on them regularly. And that was it's a simple goal, right? Like, but what does regular mean? For me, that meant every other week. Is it achievable? Yes. I found someone to do them, found someone to come to me to do them. So I don't feel like I'm sitting out there in some like COVID spaces with people. Is it time bound? Yes, it was it's like forever, but I knew I wanted to do it. I wanted to have it set up within a certain time, and I set it up in a certain time. So tell us, what are your goals? And we're talking about goals here that make us, like, as human beings, happy and fulfilled. So while money is important, maybe money isn't like the most important thing. Maybe no, that's money is a very important thing, but like, what other goals do you have, right? Dion says, one of my goals is to take my kids on a 1-month trip to Tbilisi. I love it. All right. So now I'm going to use this goal, Dion. I'm using your goal, and we're going to go to the next step, which is to identify obstacles. So Dion, what are the obstacles that could come up to you taking your kids on a 1-month trip to Tbilisi? Variants, COVID is a mess. We don't know what's happening. Tbilisi could shut their borders. Those are things that you need to take into consideration when you're planning your trip. So I'm sure Deanna's already thinking about that, but that's the kind of thing that you need to do. Oh, wait, she needs to get their kids their passports, which we're going to talk about, because it's not really an obstacle for the most part, because you control it, right? It's part of your plan. So obstacle would be like, if you co-parent with someone and they're like, no, you can't take the kids out of the country, because you can't control that, right? So that kind of thing is what I think about when I think about obstacles. So what are the things that are outside of your control that you might have to work around, and how do you kind of plan around that? So y'all have some good goals in these comments. So Dion says, yes, they need their father's permission. Yes, right? Like that. He might be like, yes, take these kids, show them the world, right? See some world. Or he might not. He will, Dion. I know it. We're praying for you. You got this. He's not going to be an obstacle. He's going to put some money on the trip. I feel it in my spirit. He is going to give you some change to take these kids abroad for a month. Yes. And if he doesn't, you'll still be okay. You will. You got this. All right. So identify the obstacles. Who are the people that might mess this up for you? Whatever things. So if your goal, okay, Kim's goal is to pay off her last credit card in 3 months. Love that goal. If there's an like an obstacle might be an emergency that you haven't planned for, right? Like, I don't want to say any emergencies because it feels like I'm putting bad things into the world. But if something were to happen that you weren't expecting and you needed to spend money and now you can't pay off your credit card, that would be an obstacle. But the plan, which we're talking about next, the next step is you're making a plan. So part of Dion's plan to take her children to Tbilisi is to get their passports, right? So what are the steps that you need to do in order to reach your goal? So who was that? Kim S. Probably needs to figure out if she wants to pay off her last credit cards in 3 months. Her plan isn't going to be that complicated. It's just how much money do I need to put towards the credit cards in each month? And probably a little part of it is also, how do I not spend that money on other stuff? Like, how do I not spend that money on shiny things, right? So that's really good. I am reading the comments. Ooh, okay. Here comes Stephanie. Spending is not the thing I need control over, or that's keeping me from my goals. I'll make no spend January, a month where I don't spend any time doing the most wasteful thing I do, watching TV. I relate so hard to that. But no, I'm not spending any money. Like, I don't think I can promise no TV in January. But that's really good. Halisi wants to move to Portugal by the end of 2022. So in order to do that, you need a plan. And planners come in handy for that. Part of when I make a plan is I break down the steps. So right for me in my plan, I write down all of the things that I need to do, that I can think of I need to do to accomplish this. So get the passport for trip to Tbilisi, get the passport, buy the tickets, do the accommodations, get permission, all of those things. And then moving on to the next step, I set a timeline. So I create a time frame. So by January 5th, I'm going to have had that discussion with their father and asked for permission. Tell him I'm taking them, and tell him he needs to sign. Although I don't know your relationship, y'all. Do what you're gonna do, girl. But that might be a January project, and a February project might be actually applying for the passports, getting it done. And in March, by a specific date, I might want to buy the tickets. in April do the accommodations. And so that I know that by the time the trip rolls around, every single part of it that I could think of would already be done, right? So I break things down on my calendar like that. If I want to achieve something, my made up goal for today, we haven't talked about it yet, but a sample goal that I wanted us to work through was like reading 22 books in 2022. So for that, I think it meets all the SMART criteria. It's specific, it's measurable, it's achievable, it's relevant, it's time bound. It's all within a year. And so it hits the SMART goals. It's important to me because I know that Stephanie's comment reminded me of this, because I know that reading will have me watching less TV, which is a challenge for me, because it's like in these times when we're a little bit locked down, it's been I've been binge watching everything. Okay, so my plan might be identifying obstacles for reading 22 books might be my TV, right? And maybe that means I cut down on the streaming services I currently have, or something else to help me reach that goal. The obstacle is myself. I live alone. There's no reason I can't read. Make a plan. So maybe my plan is to read 2 books every month. And then, that gives me a little bit of wiggle room if something comes up. Since it's 22 books, not 24. If something comes up and I don't make it through 2 books in 1 month, I'm still hitting my target. So my plan for this could be, 2 books a month I'm going to read. My timeline, 1 year. I'm going to write in my calendar as a goal, my full focus planner as a goal for January, read 2 books. And then I'm also going to get in my calendar, and like I use a paper calendar and an online calendar. So in Google, every day I'll write down time for me to read, right? So whether that's morning or evening, I will write down this time, right? So what's a good time for you on your calendar to set your goals and to review your goals? So maybe that's once a month. So like we talked about for Dion, she's already booked those accommodations because you're going to get permission. Everything's going to happen right. You are going on this trip. It's going to be great. But how can you block time on your calendar to make your goals happen? Ooh, Dion is living her best life. The passport appointments are made for tomorrow. She just needs to get the plane tickets. She is ready. Ready. All right. Angela says, for 2021, I had a goal of reading 1 book a month, but life kept getting in the way. So I realized that unless I changed my life support systems, that goal was not realistic. Yes. And sometimes it's about changing systems, and sometimes it's about adding habits. So for me, I haven't committed to these 22 books yet, but I think I'm going to try it. For me, that would mean maybe leaving a Kindle or a book on my nightstand every day, having it in the same place every day, so that I know probably when I wake up in the morning, I can read for 30 minutes every day. Like if it's right there, I have no excuse not to reach my hand out, grab it, and read for every day. And so that's a way that you can build a habit in and make it happen. So the habit would be putting the book on my nightstand, or making sure it's there every night before I go to bed, so that when I wake up in the morning, I can pick it up and read it. And that's the second part of the habit. So putting it there at night and making sure it's there at night. I've been taking it somewhere else and taking it in my purse to go weigh to the doctors, because y'all know we do that. But every night it's where it's supposed to be. So every morning when I wake up, habit number 2 is picking it up and reading it. For me, that could be a way to hit the 22 books. Let's see. So like I said, I'd put that on my January calendar, and that I would commit to time to do it. The other thing I could do is and I recommend for you guys, is to get an accountability partner. Like Stephanie says she likes the 22 book goal. So now Stephanie is my accountability buddy for 22 books. I don't think that's what she was talking about, but she's now committed to reading 22 books, and I've committed to reading 22 books, so we can harass each other. You're welcome, Stephanie. You're welcome. That's what happens when you say stuff on my live and I can text you. When I have your phone number and you're in the live and I can bother you, you volunteer for things like this. All right. My new goal is an old goal. Get fluent in Spanish. Okay, Valerina, I want to work with this goal for a second. Your new goal is your old goal. Get fluent in Spanish. I like it, but I don't think it meets the SMART requirements. And so let's work on that a bit. So is it specific? Yeah, kind of. Fluent in Spanish is going to mean different things for different people. And so I wonder if we can change your goal to something like studying Spanish for this amount of time every day or every week. Maybe it's 15 minutes a day, 30 minutes a day, or 2 hours a week. And that way it's very measurable. It's very, I have done this thing at this time every day, right? So, or 5 days a week, right? Whatever it is, because fluent is a harder goal to get your hands wrapped around than a specific amount of time to do a thing a day, right? And then it becomes a habit and you just do it and it happens and it's very, very specific. It's so I'm saying this for, who was that? I can't remember. I can't find it. I'm not saying this for myself. I should be saying this for myself, but I'm not saying this for myself. So I'm going to study Spanish 30 minutes a day for the person in the comments. It's specific, right? It's measurable. Either you studied for 30 minutes or you didn't. It's achievable. Maybe 30 minutes, when you think about your days, maybe 30 minutes isn't achievable and 15 minutes is more realistic. Okay, 15 minutes a day. It's relevant. If you want to learn Spanish, yep, that's relevant. And it's time bound. It's a daily thing and you're going to do it for a year because you wanted to learn Spanish in a year. You're going to do it in a year. So if you can switch your goal from maybe an achievement goal to an action goal, they typically are more effective, right? Like, I want to save $6 million in January. There's so much wrong with that goal, right? Like, that didn't hit any of the SMART goals, but we're just going to play with that for a minute. That's different than I am going to take 10% of my paycheck every pay period and put it in this financial vehicle, right? Like, let's get as specific as we can and make it an action, right? Like, I want to save this amount of money is a goal. I am going to do this on a regular basis is an action. And action goals, they fall within the SMART criteria a little bit better, and they're more likely to make that happen because I can't save, if I win the lottery, y'all, and I get $6 million in January, then yes, I guess I could save it. But otherwise, it would be challenging because a fairy godmother is not coming over here and sewing me a dress out of pumpkins and the mice aren't doing whatever. Like $6 million in 1 month isn't realistic for most of us, which is why I picked it, because it's not a real goal. Okay. Cutie Pie says, a few months ago, I did 1 book a month. Cutting out TV helped. I had 2 evenings where I did not watch TV and instead consumed great reads in the evenings. It was great for my mental. That's awesome. So I keep telling myself that like 1 book a month isn't a lot. But then, you know what it's more than? It's more than 0 books a month. And how many of us have had months where we've read 0 books this year? If I could put my feet up, I'd put them up too. Because like, I either like read, or I'm like, what's a book? Like, those are the two stages I have. It's one or the other, right? Like, so I like it when I get into a reading phase, but those, they last a couple months and then I'm back. All right. Dion studies French for 15 minutes a day. Start small and it makes the goal manageable. All right, let's see what else is in the comments. Oh, Peyton does Duolingo for 15 minutes in the morning and 15 minutes in the evening. All right. Cha. Atomic Habits is a good book to start with. I love Atomic Habits for figuring out like how to create the life I want. It is, focused a little bit around work too. So Deep Work by Cal Newport and Atomic Habits by James Clear. Great books for figuring out, for like getting yourself more motivated to do stuff. But the stuff, honestly, a lot of times is work. Imagine that. White men writing books about how to do more work. But I do like both of those books. Halisi says, do audiobooks count? I just listened to my first audiobook like 3 weeks ago. I'm a late adopter to like everything. And so if you think they count, they count. It's your life. You're not doing this for anybody else, right? Like, these are your goals. And so let's figure out how to get your goals, how to make a plan, how to add it to your calendar. Because if you don't add it to your calendar, it's not going to happen. And so I think that's what it is for me with reading. Like, I don't put it on my calendar. And so it just doesn't happen. And so I need to put it on my calendar and make it a habit that I do. So the first thing I do, like I say, when I wake up is grab a book. That might be it. I think I've committed to reading 22 books in 2022. That was not the plan when we started. But it is what it is. All right. Let's see. Y'all talking about trips. Ooh. Yolanda started meditating every day for 10 minutes after Thanksgiving. I feel less stressed and more aware of my body. I'm going to continue this. I've had meditating goals before, but I don't know how to stick to them. Like, that's one thing that like I haven't been able to stick to. So maybe, you know what? It's not on my list, but we're adding it to the list right now, is a goal check-in at a regular period, whether that is every 3 months or every month, just a check-in to see like, these were my goals and how for the year, or these are my goals for the quarter, and how am I doing on those goals? So checking in on your goals, having that accountability buddy, so that if you start to fall off, you or someone you love will remind you. So yeah, I think for me, that would work. If I had it written down, like I have my goals written down, but I don't have time to check in with how I'm doing on my goals written down in my calendar. I think that's why the goals that are kind of less tangible kind of float away from me sometimes. Like the meditating goal. Did I not? I mean, I closed my eyes for like 5 seconds, but it was really just because I was getting stressed, right? Like, how do I make that a goal that hits a SMART goal? So probably like meditating. I want to meditate every day for 5 minutes in the morning before I get out of bed, right? Like, that's a goal that I could actually check on. That would be more helpful for me than I want to meditate every day. Like, having a time of the day that I'm meant to do it helps me because it feels more like an appointment with myself. If it's anytime during the day, I don't know about you, but if it's anytime during the day, a lot of times it doesn't happen. So I'm gonna add my meditating goal back into my goals for 2022, but it's gonna be at a specific time. I need that. Thank you. Nina and Abba, you are in from Burnout to Bliss together. So y'all can, I think you're both in the Facebook group. You guys can link up and be accountability buddies about whatever your goals are. I don't think I saw them. Okay, so there's a debate about whether audiobooks count. Y'all, these are your own goals. You ain't got to show, there's no report card. There's no nothing. If you think they count, you want to listen to a certain number of audiobooks a month, done, right? Like, done. But in audiobooks, I'm always like, what did they just say? What just, like, I don't focus as well when I'm doing audiobooks. Okay. Nina, I tried Headspace years ago, and that man's voice, His voice. I think they have more people now, so it's not just one man's voice. But his voice had me like, nothing, no, thank you. I don't feel relaxed while you're talking at me, man. I didn't feel it. All right. So I want to know in the comments, let me know if you have set a goal today for 2022. Give me a thumbs up in the comments, or write thumbs up if you can't do an emoji for any reason. Give me a thumbs up if you set a goal for 2022. Even if it's a quarterly goal, so maybe a goal for your first quarter, give me a thumbs up, or write thumbs up if you set a goal. Camila did, Yolanda did. Who else? We're setting goals. And if you want to, tell us what your goal is. You don't have to. But tell us what your goals are if you want to. I'm going back through past comments. Stephanie, who had the watch less TV goal, actually wrote a great comment a while ago, which I'm going to put on the screen. So she's going to be in Curacao for a while. And her plan is to not book an Airbnb with no TV, because that might help her watch less TV and only watch sports if she's in a restaurant. And this is why knowing yourself really comes in handy. And that's why all your goals are very personal. And you have to figure out what your plan is. An Airbnb with no TV is not going to stop me from watching TV, because I'm going to be on my laptop like, hey, what can I watch? What's going on my phone? I will find a way. And so for me, a way to get me to not watch TV is to replace that time with something else that I can't multitask while doing, right? So for me, no TV in an Airbnb wouldn't work. Looks like it will for Stephanie. I would need to fill in the time. That's why 22 books, I know, will help me, because if I'm reading every day, I can't read and watch TV. I could try, but I probably won't try to read and watch TV. And so that will be filling up my TV time. Probably not all of it, because your girl likes to stream while she's working, while she's writing emails and doing stuff. But that will help. I also do want to focus more on deep work and not multitasking. How can we make this a goal? Any ideas on how to make not multitasking a goal? I don't know. I'm gonna come down and see who's got goals and what they are. Kim from Live Life Untamed says, one of my main goals next year is to make being consistent with putting out content easy and a habit for me. So she wants to be consistent with putting out content and wants to make it easy and a habit. But what are you going to do, Kim? What's your plan? We need a plan. What's your plan for making it consistent? Is that batching content on the same day every week? What is the plan that you're going to put in action to hit that goal of content creation being easy and consistent? Okay, I see lots of thumbs. Scrolling back down. Lots of thumbs up. Hey, Joy. Wait, did y'all see the hater in the comments? I asked for thumbs up and I see a thumb down. Do y'all see that hater energy? Adelia is not a goal person. And so she gave me a thumbs down. Thank you for being here, you hater. But definitely the rest of us are going to make goals. Adelia says she can't commit. Can you commit to a goal for a month or sorry, y'all, something's got in my eye, I think. For a month or for 3 months? Like if committing to a goal for a year is too long, Can you commit to a goal, a weekly goal? Like every day this week, I'm going to tell Rashida how amazing she is. Like, that's a great goal. I fully support it. Fully. Mm-hmm. Rashida is doing the no spend challenge. What it do, DG's doing, gonna study Spanish 15 minutes daily. All right. Tracy, we're gonna talk about you. Tracy Irie, your goal is to finally lose weight. Not a goal. It's not a goal in the context of what we're talking about. Sorry, y'all. I am really having a hard time today. It's like I don't want to call it a dream because that makes it, I feel like that's dismissive, but it's not specific. It's not measurable. It's not relevant. It's not time bound. So I'm going to lose 3 pounds every month, right? Or I'm not going to eat specific things, right? Or I'm going to exercise every day. Those are action goals that will get you closer to your goal than like an achievement goal, right? So finally losing the weight is nice, right? But it doesn't get it done. You need a plan to get that done. And so whatever things you can do to how can you define that finally lose weight goal? What's the plan you can put behind it to make it more achievable? So exercising a number of days a week, eating whatever, like whatever it is that works with you, not works for other people, but whatever things that work for you and whatever things you can put in place in your life and make those smaller goals, like I said. So instead of losing the weight, a smaller goal might be, I'm not going to drink any alcohol in 2022. If you think that alcohol contributes to your weight. I'm not saying it does, Tracy, because I don't know you, but that's just a thing, right? So if that's helpful, like whatever things that you think will help you lose weight, and how do you turn those into specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-bound goals? What it do, DG says strength train 15 minutes, 3 days a week. Great goal, right? Like it's specific, when you've done it, it's measurable. Love it. All right. Yvette Boone says, look into booking my house as an Airbnb so I can take a sabbatical. I don't mind that as a goal, Yvette, but what's the date? Like, what's the timeline on that? When are you going to, and what does look into it mean? Like, we gotta get a little more specific on that one. Sinolv says, my goal is to write every day. I'm trying to finish my second book. My goal is to move so I can write on the beach every day. Okay, write every day. Well, Kat, I think for my question about how to stop multitasking is one thing at a time. You have to check it off as done before moving on to the next. I mean, that sounds nice, but it's not going to work for me. I've tried that before. It doesn't work. I don't know. Reminding myself how effective deep work is by reading Deep Work by Cal Newport, not an ad, really helps me. That's one thing that really gets me like to stop multitasking is when I can read the stats of like how terrible it is for you in getting stuff done. All right. Okay. Dory Johnson has a goal and goals, and they are saving $580 a month. Yay. And 15 minutes of learning Spanish per day starting in January. Yay. I love it. All right. Risa wants to set up an investment account and a credit card for miles before the end of 2022. I would ask you, Risa, why that timeline? Is the timeline because you have other goals before that you want to accomplish or you need to accomplish before you get to that goal? And I ask because you set in for an investment account and a credit card. are something you could do today, right? And so if you want to do them before the end of 2020. So when we make our goals, we need to make sure that the time is reasonable, and the time isn't, by reasonable, you don't want to cram too much into too short of a time frame, and you don't want to have too long of a time frame for the thing you want to do, because if it's too long, it's less likely to get done. And so that's just something I would ask you to think about. And you might have very valid reasons for it being at the end because you have other stuff going on. Life is always like that. But think about it. All right. Okay, Rashida wants to save for a sabbatical. We need numbers. Whatever numbers. Whatever numbers. How much are you saving? At what intervals? So is it every pay period? Is it every month? What are you doing? Rashida, we don't need your numbers, girl. You need your numbers. You need to know what you're saving. And then honestly, if you guys have savings goals, I'd recommend that you track your spending. You look at what your what you have to spend money on. Track your spending and see exactly how much money you have coming in. Because sometimes we don't know, because money can come from other places. And we're not always doing the math. It's do the math time. If you have a savings goal, do the math and figure out what you can save. Because if you just pick a number out of nowhere, it's much harder to make it happen. Either you're being way too easy on yourself, or you're not either it's not a big enough target, or it's too big of a target if you're picking from nowhere. If you need the math, you need the numbers first. So Rashida, you need some numbers. You're going to save how much for your sabbatical and in what intervals. That's what you need. Super share. It was just Adelia. She put a thumbs down in the comment. She's not hating on goal setting. She just doesn't set goals. And I know this about her. When she got her full focus planner, she called me what do you do with this? She really was I don't put all her business in the streets, but she really I am a goal setting person. And so the full focus planner works really well for me because it has you set your goals. But she was like, I don't do this. I don't know what this is. So I was not surprised to see a thumbs down from her. Hey girl, thanks for watching. Thanks for being here while I talk about your business. Okay. Let's see. The Mel Robbins 5-second rule /hack works to fight through procrastination or getting started. I don't know that. I know Mel Robbins. I'll have to look into that and figure out what it is. Cutie Pie says, I've not decided what my 2022 goals are. I hope to clear my mind while in Portugal, possibly while hiking, and use a similar journal to what we got at Exodus to keep me on track. Yes. Time-wise, EJ Crittenden wants to complete move to Nigeria by August 22 and publish 4th book. We need a plan and we need a timeline, EJ, a plan and a timeline. So if you're going to publish your 4th book, I don't know of the steps of book publishing, but I know there are steps, right? You got to write it. You got to do something else. It's got to be edited. Step number 7. So can you map out what those steps look like over the year to ensure that you get it done before the year is over? All right. Risa's goal is to save 20% of my income every month and 10% in mutual funds for each month. Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-bound. And it's a plan, right? So I would say for Risa, to make sure that it is a plan, set it up automatically. If there's a process that you can use to automatically take that money out of your paycheck before it gets to you, to set it maybe to I don't know if you have a 401k or 403b through work, to do that every month, or send it directly to your savings account or something else, whatever you can do to automate the process will help it happen easier. So that would be, if that was my goal, that would be my plan, would be to automate it so I don't have to think about doing it. Because if I have to think about whether I want to save 20% or I want a new pair of shoes, it's truly going to be hard. I'm being real with y'all about who I am as a human. It's going to be hard to say don't buy the shoes, girl, put the money in the savings account. Because when you put the money in savings, wherever it is, you don't see that. but you see the shoes on your feet. And so for me, I always needed to automate my savings, or I know myself it wouldn't happen. All right. Tanya Jeffrey's goal is to give the first hour of the day to me to focus on my goals. Daily yoga and meditation, practice 30 minutes each day, read 2 books each month, 15 to 30 minutes each day, learn/practice Spanish for 15 minutes. I love it. I love it. I love it. But I don't know Tanya to speak to her goals, but I want us all to be careful that we don't pick too many goals. I'm not saying you're doing that, Tanya. I think your goals are excellent. But sometimes when we are in the goal setting phase, we can set too many. Like the full purpose planner has room for 10 goals a quarter. So yeah, it has room for 10 goals. Your annual goals are here. Well, it's your annual goals. And when you break it down with the goal detail, how do I make this? See, I didn't fill out my goals. In the third quarter, I was like, I just want to breathe. After Exodus, which is when I started using this planner, I was like, I really just want to sleep and eat. I just want to sleep and eat, y'all. That's not my goal. But for me, focusing on 10 goals a quarter would be too much, right? Like it has space for 10. But unless one is like showering every day, right? Like 10 goals is too much for me. I can't keep that focus. So for me, it's like 3. And then I accomplish those. I make them habits. I keep going. I might add another one, but I'm not doing 10 goals a year or trying to track 10 goals in each quarter because I got to eat. Like that's eating time. No. All right. Let's see. Yvette's goal is to take my sabbatical in 2022, but using my home as an Airbnb frees up more money so I can be unemployed longer. So we'll gather details about Airbnb by end of January. Yes, we're getting specific. Okay. And if your goal is sabbatical in April 2022, you got to have some goals around that too, right? Even if it's just saving money or making sure you got luggage. You don't need luggage. You don't need anything. But whatever that is the gap between where you are and where you want to be for your sabbatical, I would turn those into goals and see like, how can you make the goal, have a plan behind it to make it work automatically if possible. You can do that. My goal is to move to San Diego next year, but I feel like that's too lofty, especially when I don't have enough saved. Amirio J. This is the other side of the people who do too much. Why? I would ask if there's going to be a huge difference between your living expenses where you are now and in San Diego. San Diego's not cheap, but there's probably a way to make it happen if you want it, right? So like, what are the things you can do this year to make it happen? Or what are the things you can do now and next year to make it happen next year? And maybe that's living in San Diego with a roommate. Who knows? I don't know your story. So these are not suggestions. But what can you do? Because a move can feel like a big thing, but it's not always a big thing. And so when you say you don't have enough saved, I would want to know like, I'd want to know what you need money for. Okay, so like down pay, like if you're paying for an apartment or a house or whatever, yes, down payments. But what are you paying now, and how do you transition that over? Those are kind of the questions I would have. So I don't think it's too lofty. I think you just need a plan. So you're going to identify the obstacles to you moving, like we talked about. If moving to San Diego is a goal, identify the obstacles, make the plan, set the timeline, and commit to it. Have an accountability buddy who's like, why you want to go to happy hour when you want to move to San Diego? Like, drink at home. Talk to your friends on FaceTime if you need like company, right? Like you don't need to spend someone who can check you when you're falling off. That's what you need. Someone who can check you when you're falling off the ladder. Like Stephanie, who's now, this is, I guess, her time to get to me since I got to her before. She says, I need more coworkers that'll help you stop multitasking. Stephanie loves coworkers and co-working time. And so she's one of my coworkers. We just haven't met in a while. So she's telling, I think this is her reminding me that like, you could be doing different things, but you're not. So Cutie Pie, I put the link to the journal in the comments. It's not the exact same one from Exodus. I like the darker covered ones that are book bound. The one from Exodus is spiral bound and a lighter gray. I don't like it as much as the darker gray book bound ones. So those are the ones I linked in the comments and in the description. But you can buy it at full. If you want the lighter colored one, you can go to Google Full Focus Planner. It'll come up. All right. Let's see. Ooh, I'm way behind on comments. I don't know what y'all are talking about. Yolanda has 2 goals a quarter. That's great. Okay. So Adelia is coming up with goals. And they look like something about leaving the house 1 time per week. You could have just left off something. You could have just said, my goal. You could have just committed. Y'all, she's not going to commit to these goals. Committed to leaving the house 1 time per week. Yes. And speak to humans in Spanish for the month of January. Is that just one goal? Leave the house 1 time a week and speak to humans together? Or those 2 separate goals? I don't know. But we need to get her. We don't need to get her to do anything. I'll bully her later on. But yeah, 1 goal. Like leave the house once a week. If you don't always do that, I don't always do that. I'll tell y'all. It'll be like 9 days. And I'll be like, when's the last time I left the house? I don't even remember. When I got to go back in my calendar, it's a mess. All right. Okay. Where did that go? Okay. H. Chafin's goal is to stop using a debit card. I want to only use credit to build my points for travel. Yes. And invest in index funds monthly. Yes. Make 6 figures all of 2022 and beyond. Love the goals. If I was going to tweak anything, invest in index funds monthly, I would pick a number. Like how much money are you going to invest every month? And that way you don't have to figure it out. You don't have to like at the end of the or during the month say like, how much money do I have to invest each month? If you put the investing goal ahead of your other money stuff, and if it happens automatically, then you have the rest of your money to figure out what you're going to do with, and you're not like taking your investments from whatever's left over. All right. Goal for sabbatical is set. Yay, Yvette. Just wanted to set additional goals to ease some discomfort about dwindling my savings and to release my attachment to my home in the USA. You will. I see this. All right. Let's see. Adelia says she needs a task that she can do. Random conversation is not her thing. And we know that. We know who you are. And we love you for who you are. All right. Who else has goals? Who else feels like they're setting themselves up right for 2022? I think I set some more goals for myself in this that I wasn't planning on. So my goals are December off next year as well. I'm also taking April and May off. So in 2022, I'm taking April and May off. People who see me in Turkey, I'm going to work a couple of days there, but that's all of it so far. So April and May are off. December is off. And the first few weeks in January will probably still be recovering from my trip, so I'm not going to do a lot of work. So that's one of the goals, 3 months off in 2022. I guess I'm reading 22 books next year. We did this together. 22 books in 2022 is part of a goal. Someone asked if I'm gonna start a book club. No, I'm not. You want to start a book club and invite me? Yes, I might join that, maybe. But me and book clubs is like I show up when I want to. I'm not reading every book. I'm not doing it. So 3 months off, 22 books, meditate daily, and I'm gonna add yoga back because if you don't know, I'm a yoga teacher who has not had a home. I don't practice at home anymore. I haven't since the pandemic. I haven't since I hurt my knee. That was when I really stopped practicing yoga. I'm being honest, and that was October 2019. So I haven't had a regular practice since October 2019. And for me, that really means like I've probably been on my mat like 5 times. I've been to 1 class in that time, maybe 2, when I was in Florida. And I haven't been practicing by myself. And so I want to commit to that again because my body just feels better. When I'm practicing yoga regularly, it's like my body and my mind feel better. I sleep better. And I just haven't done it. And so I want to get back into that. All right. Let's see. Angela has downsizing goals related to her exodus next summer. Hey, y'all. Are you doing Stephanie's December to Declutter challenge? Are you doing it? Are you doing it? Let me see. I know I have this somewhere. Nope. I think it's decembertodeclutter.org. Decembertodeclutter.org. That's not it. No. I think that's it. So Stephanie's doing a decluttering challenge. Stephanie's decluttering challenge. Challenge, which you're very proud of me. I got to inbox 0 the other day. I was very proud of myself as part of my decluttering. Because I'm not home for most of December, I don't really feel like I can participate, but I can't. So I'm doing some digital decluttering. So I'm excited about that. And if you want to do the no spend challenge with me, if finances are part of your plan for 2022, join me in the no spend challenge because what we're doing, there's fuzz in the house. It's not just about not spending money. It's about understanding where you're spending money. It's understanding the urges that make you want to spend money. It's about resetting your budget, and it's about spending less, right? Like we're not going to act like spending less isn't part of it. But for me, a lot of what it does is it reminds me of when, of where I want to spend money. Like my restaurant budget or restaurant expenses, ugly. Amazon, girl, what? And so in January, one of the things I'll be doing, I'll talk about this more on the challenge. We're going to have a community for it. I'll tell you about it later. But one of the things I want to do in the challenge is really, like, if I want something, write it down and save it for February. And then in February, decide whether it's still important to me. So is this going to be important to me again in 30 days? And if not, I probably don't need to buy it. Yes. Sinolv Waffle Cat was right. Deep Work by Cal Newport and Atomic Habits by James Clear are the 2 books that I recommend. They're in I've got a Who's My What? Chaba. Oh, I know how to find it. Give me a second. I have a list of books that I really love and that have helped me along the way. And so let me see if I can find it, my idea list. Yes, I'm gonna give you my books list. But those 2, I think this is the link. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Copy link. I'm going to give that to you right now. Books I love that have helped me play. Also, that book by Henrietta Cloudser, Write It Down, Make It Happen. Me, life changing. I've read it all down now. All of it. All right. Let's see. The wonderful teacher wants to retire from teaching after 21 to 22 school year, travel summer 22, explore Mexico fall 22, detailed schedule for 2022 travel, savings goal, invest $450 in S&P 500. Yay. All right. All right. I love this. Okay. H. Hafin's looking for a good resume writer. If that is anyone, drop it in the comments. If you're watching the replay, I hope you added all of your goals and stuff along the way. Thanks a bunch, guys. I really feel good about this one. I feel like we're ready. We might talk about goals. Someone asked earlier if we could do another check-in about goals in 3 months. Maybe we'll do that. But find your accountability buddy. Find someone in your real life who you can say, hey, these are the things I want to do. Someone that you feel safe with and you can talk to about what you want to do. And we'll talk next time. Next time is probably going to be in January. One of my goals was to have videos set up for you that you could watch while I was cruising around Antarctica, but your girl didn't get it done. Did not meet that goal. So I didn't have a plan. I didn't have any action steps. I didn't have a timeline. I was like, oh yeah, I should do that. That's a goal. Let me write this down. And it never actually happened. So don't be like me. Create those plans. Let me know how they go. If you have something that comes up, drop it in the comments after this video and let's talk about it. All right. Thank you guys. We'll talk later. I have to go get antigen test now, even though I already have a PCR test. You can tell how I feel about these new requirements. Talk to you guys later. Bye.